In June 2009, US and NATO troops surged into Afghanistan. 8 Marines on a special mission went to an observation post called OP Rock in Helmand Province, where British soldiers were stationed. Unlike typical OPs, OP Rock lacked high ground and amenities, making it vulnerable to snipers. The Marines, led by Sergeant Green and Corporal Lena, including Zolik, Hoyt, Wilson, Parker, Smith, and Gibbs, faced 60 days at OP Rock in Afghanistan. Upon arrival, the British soldiers, eager to depart, skipped the usual turnover operations, depriving the Marines of valuable insights. The British soldiers looked worn out and exhausted, as if they had been fighting at OP Rock for years, even though it had only been 60 days, just as long as the Marines were going to be there. Before leaving, one of the British soldiers cryptically advised the Marines to put anything they dig up back where they found it. When asked for clarification, he didn't explain further, just insisting they trust him. On the first night, Corporal Lena stood watch in the guard tower at OP Rock, relying on an old military radio for communication. He initially dismissed some crackling on the radio as typical, but when it persisted and he heard an incomprehensible speech, he grew more concerned about a possible malfunction. Trying to fix it, he became increasingly vigilant. Minutes later, the radio crackling intensifies, and Corporal Lena hears clear Russian speech, unsettling him as the radio is encrypted for team use only. Concerned, he contacts the main base, but they confirm no messages are being sent to OP Rock. Uneasy all night, Lena urges the next guard to replace the radio due to its strange behavior. After being relieved from guard duty, Corporal Lena joins the other Marines as they begin their first full day at OP Rock. They notice a trench surrounding the area, meant to provide cover from snipers, but find it too shallow. Wondering why the previous British soldiers didn't dig it deeper, they spent the day widening and deepening it. While digging, Lena uncovers a metal stake with Russian writing, speculating it might be leftover equipment from the Soviet era in Afghanistan. About 10 meters away from Lena, one of the younger Marines named Wilson is digging when he hits the ground and uncovers a pocket of soil containing pottery and ceramic pieces. As they pull out these items, they discover a large human bone, specifically a femur. Deciding to rebury the bone and avoid disturbing the area further, they continue digging elsewhere in the trench. However, they encounter more human remains just a few inches down, unearthing dozens of skeletons by the end of the day. They realize that this is likely what the British meant when they advised them to put anything they dug up back where it was. Over the next couple of weeks, the Marines come to accept that they're living in a very eerie place. On the 13th day at OP Rock, Hoyt witnesses a man running outside the perimeter, prompting the Marines to prepare for a potential attack. However, when they search the area with thermal imaging and find no heat signatures, confusion ensues. Despite their efforts, they can't locate anyone, but their dog, Ugly Betty, remains agitated, intensifying their sense of unease and anticipation of an imminent threat. The next day, when there was no attack, the Marines dismissed the previous night's events as unusual. However, a few weeks later, on day 26, Zolik experienced strange occurrences during his guard duty. Despite the scorching heat, he felt a sudden drop in temperature inside the shack. He sensed a presence behind him and heard whispering and even footsteps on the roof. Thinking it might be a prank by fellow Marine Smith, he checked but found nobody there, leaving him increasingly unsettled. Zolik, visibly shaken, searched the guard shack for Smith or any prankster but found no one. As he raised his rifle to scan with his thermal scope, he spotted a man standing a couple of 100 meters away, fists raised. Startled, he momentarily lowered his rifle before raising it again, only to find the figure vanished. Zolik, already stressed and fatigued, began questioning his sanity, attributing the strange occurrences to his mental state. Troubled by eerie experiences, Zolik feared his sanity was slipping. Confiding in Sergeant Green and Corporal Lena, he sought a transfer. However, his fellow Marines accused him of concocting excuses to leave. Just a few days after Zolik's departure, Lena was on guard duty in the guard shack when Ugly Betty, the dog, suddenly started barking aggressively towards a particular area. Lena, Curious, raised his night vision goggles and scanned the mountainside, halting when he thought he spotted a Taliban scout several hundred meters away. He switched to his thermal scope to confirm the presence of a person, only to find no heat signature at all. Despite this, Ugly Betty continued barking furiously in the direction where Lena had seen the potential scout. Lena's heart raced as he switched back to his night vision goggles and saw the same scout much closer, way too close to cover that distance in such a short time. Shocked, he prepared to engage, but when he switched to his thermal scope, there was nothing there. In a matter of seconds, he felt a tap on his shoulder, assuming it was one of his fellow Marines. But when he turned, there was no one there, and all 7 of them were asleep in the middle of the camp. Feeling guilty for doubting Zolik's experiences, Lena realized he was now experiencing similar phenomena. Over the next 10 days, Hoyt, Smith, and Wilson also had eerily similar encounters in the guard shack. As they shared their stories, they came to understand that Zolik likely wasn't lying, and they had been unfair to criticize him. Then, on day 59, the day before they were scheduled to leave, all their radios suddenly went dead. Lena approached Gibbs, their communications specialist, who claimed he hadn't changed anything and had been working on the radios the entire time. With their radios out of commission and only an unreliable satellite phone for communication, they felt even more isolated and vulnerable, hoping to make it through their final night without incident. Wilson, bewildered by the unexpected gunfire, sought cover as Lena hurried to his side, both bracing for an impending RPG blast. Despite their efforts to locate the assailants, the source of the attack remained elusive amidst the chaos. Meanwhile, some of the younger Marines took cover in the trenches, anticipating further attacks. They searched the trenches to ensure no attackers were hiding there, but found no one. Despite the relentless barrage of gunfire, the attackers remained elusive, their location unknown. The Marines remained vigilant, expecting another round of gunfire at any moment. However, as suddenly as it began, the gunfire ceased, leaving an eerie silence in its wake. The Marines, wary of a potential ambush, remained cautious, hunkering down against the HESCO barriers as they awaited any further signs of danger. With the dawn breaking, they assessed the damage caused by the gunfire and RPG, only to find no evidence of any actual damage to their base. No bullets had penetrated the defenses, and there were no signs of any attackers. With no explanation for the mysterious attack, the Marines were eager to leave OP Rock as soon as reinforcements arrived. After departing the site, tragedy struck. 3 of the 8 Marines, Smith, Parker, and Diggs, were killed in separate incidents in Afghanistan shortly thereafter. Additionally, Sergeant Green, their leader, was severely injured in an IED blast. Reflecting on their experiences, Lena came to believe that disturbing the trenches and uncovering the bones had unleashed something ominous. It appeared that many lives had been lost on that desolate piece of land, leaving the Marines haunted by the inexplicable events they had witnessed.